Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Gus Kousoulas. He is a professor of virology and biotechnology in the Department of Pathobiological Sciences and director of the Division of Biotechnology and Molecular Medicine. He is the director of the NIH-funded Center in Experimental Infectious Disease Research and the director of NIH-funded Louisiana Biomedical Research Network Molecular and Cell Biology Core. Dr. Gus would be talking on data science for biological data, a message for the National Association of IDEA Principal Investigators. Over to you, Dr. Gus.
So hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, Dr. Gus, we can see your screen.
Okay, well, I guess good morning or good afternoon, depending where you are. Thank you for the introduction. I'm very pleased to participate in this important symposium. It was exciting to see the opportunities by the elite universities at Georgetown and also at CMU, very exciting programs. I am the president of the National Association of IDEA Principal Investigators, and this is a 503c not-for-profit corporation. There is a think tank that helps NIH, and specifically the National Institute of General Medical Sciences, to sort of socialize and support biomedical research within 23 states and Puerto Rico. And those 23 states in Puerto Rico, representing practically half of the country, are those states that do not receive high levels of NIH funding, and NIH is concerned about that and has created this program to support biomedical research, and specifically data science and bioinformatics at the undergraduate and graduate level, with a focus on primarily undergraduate institutions. So NIPI aims to, as I said, be a think tank and advise NIH on programs and how to really support biomedical research. And it fosters interactions, promotes resources sharing, enhances the visibility of multiple programs I will tell you a little bit about, and develops consensus priorities, disseminates best practices, and identifies opportunities and develop strategies for excelling in biomedical research. This is the leadership of the NIPI. I serve as the president, and we have an executive committee with Dr. Doug Wright from Kansas, Dr. Ian Meng from University of New England, Dr. Scott Seville from Wyoming, and Dr. Julia Oxford, the secretary from Boise State. The NIPI website, I think, is part of my what I have disclosed here, and you could look at the NIPI site for all this information about what NIPI is doing. So again, the mission of NIPI is to provide leadership and communication for the development and promotion, improvement of biomedical research. And as already told you, a lot of the goals is to really foster interaction, support all our constituents and stakeholders throughout those programs. So a little bit briefly about the history of the IDEA program. The National Institutes of Health developed the Institutional Development Award, or IDEA program. It was established in 1993 to broaden the geographic distribution of NIH funding for biomedical behavioral research. The program fosters health-related research and enhances the competitiveness by investing in institutions located in states in which the aggregate success rate for applications to NIH has historically been low. So it is, to a large extent, manpower development, socializing support for biomedical research, and supporting in much greater numbers people that could pursue biomedical research. The program also serves unique populations, such as rural and medically underserved communities in these states. So this is just a brief idea about the funding. The current funding is approximately $400 million. That's distributed among different programs. It started much lower in 93 with approximately 30 million, and has been rising, hopefully attending up to 1% of the budget. And as you can see, 1% of the NIH budget that is actually distributed for these programs, competitive programs in 23 states and Puerto Rico. And these programs have been fundamental because they increase competitiveness within the states and leverages them to be able to compete with categorical traditional funding by NIH. And a number of our states, because of this funding, have been able to compete and get significant funding by competing with much more developed institutions and states. So the 5 IDeA funding programs is the Centers for Biomedical Research Excellence, the SCOBRIs. This program is really targeting to graduate individual investigators with R1 funding from NIH, and has been fantastically successful, having investigators reaching the first R1 at a younger age in comparison to the average across the states. And also promoting excellence of biomedical research within specific institutions. The IMBRE Awards, for which one I'm the principal investigator, is a different type of award, one per state. There are 24 active awards, and those have a targeted focus on promoting promoting biomedical research through primarily through supporting primarily undergraduate institutions, and they have mandatory focus on training and teaching and providing support for data science and bioinformatics. And this is what I call socializing learning for data science, because we'll reach more than 50,000 undergraduates. And what we're trying to do through NAIPI and through these programs is really provide free or very low cost training in bioinformatics and data science. So we also have the IDeA networks for clinical translational research, the IDeA CTRs at 20 active states that focus on translational research. We also support, the NIH supports co-funding for R1s and R15s and has 10 applications that come within region of being funded by Categorical Institute. And we do have 4 hubs that promote entrepreneurship within the IDeA network. So the IDeA networks himself, and I will talk about some of the specific things that NIH is doing to promote data science and computational biology through cloud computing training and through Google and Amazon contracts. And the CTRs are clinical translational centers that involve multiple medical schools within the IDeA states. And there's a co-funding coordinator that has been used to really help people within states to achieve funding through a categorical institute. And of course, the IDeA regional technology centers have seed programs, and they teach business fundamentals for technology core directors for the IMBRE and COBE programs. There are a number of other collaborations and participations in NIH-wide initiatives. I'll go briefly through this, and you'll have the slides to see this. These are really from a recent town meeting that we had with NIH. Dr. Ming Li presented some of this information. So there is collaborations among the IDeA programs. There are supplements that are being given to COBRE CTRs for a number of different purposes, including a number of them for COVID-19 research. There are collaborations with non-IDeA NIH programs, including the maternal and infant mortality research, the COVID-19 patient registry, cloud computing for biomedical research, and the NIH STRIDES program that involves access to Google and Amazon cloud computing, and I'll say something about that a little later. We also have competing participation in competition for NIH-wide research initiatives, including the active files for COVID-19 therapeutics and the rapid acceleration of diagnostics and for undeserved populations. So a new program for NIH that I think will be important for some of you to know is the SHURE Program, which is support for research excellence, SHURE Program. And this is really to target primarily undergraduate institutions that serve minorities. And it has different programs. One is to support investigators for NIH research funding, and to support research excellence as a first independent research award, and to build administrative infrastructure, broadening participation. And there are specific qualifications for this, up to 25% of the students being served by Pell Grants. It replaces a number of the opportunities that were provided initially for minority institutions. So a number of really small primarily undergraduate institutions can compete for these awards. Of course, the INRI programs within state will assist in any of those primarily undergraduate institutions within these 23 states in Puerto Rico to submit these competitive awards to NIH. This, again, the map of the IDEA program states that, as I told you, involves the COBRIs, INRIs, IDEA CTRs, 23 states in Puerto Rico, labeled here in this map as green. Really, they are the states that have a great population, a lot of interest, unfortunately not the resources some of the bigger states have and the elite programs throughout the country, and NAIPI is facilitating accessing this information and representing all these IDEA states to NIH and to the federal government. So NAIPI has done a number of initiatives, and we are in the process of developing more. Let's see, get this out of here. We're providing funding for IDEA undergraduate students to travel to Washington, D.C. Every other year, we have a national meeting with over 1,000 people attending in Washington, D.C., and we'll provide travel funds for that. We're awarding awards for undergraduate, graduate, and assistant professors for best presentations in our regional meetings, which are also every other year, overlapping every other year regional meetings and then the national meeting. The access to IDEA-wide databases, and we provide free access to virtual training courses and exercises created by IDEA faculty and discounts to other virtual courses in data science and informatics. We have really have a collaboration with Pine Biotech, and we're providing a number of these courses free of charge or with low charges throughout our network, accessing more than 50,000 students. We also going to have job postings and job searches in the IDEA program. We also were proud that we are co-sponsors for this particular symposium, which provides, I think, tremendous information for what has been happening in the field of data science and training. We're also very proud to announce for the first time that we are the recipients of the Tober Foundation support, a donation that will help us gather data science, bioinformatics content, including training modules and lectures, and we'll disseminate them through our website to all the NAIPI stakeholders and participants. And we're going to provide Pine Biotech material for free or through discounted prices to all NAIPI members. We'll also be providing CAS awards, as I was telling you, for different conferences that we support. And we also will be covering expenses with this donation for a general lecture on citizen science, which is also very important. And we'll be covering expenses for launching surveys and maintaining our NAIPI website and engaging the NAIPI members and organizations into a larger discussion about how best to train people, especially in data science and bioinformatics, with a goal to increase competitiveness for biomedical research. I want to very briefly to also mention our own program, the Louisiana Biomedical Research Network. This is the website here. It does have a number of important information and recorded lectures on coronavirology and other symposia that we've held together with Pine Biotech. And we've also been involved heavily in summer training. And this is the previous summer program that we launched with over 10 different types of programs, a number of them virtual with the assistance of Pine Biotech. And you'll find this information in the LBRN website. And we're very proud that we had a number of participants doing specific projects as well as virtual projects through this. I want to take a really brief time because I haven't seen that mentioned here, that obviously as you'll gather through my presentation, that NIH is very much interested in really disseminating information and training people, the new generation of scientists in biomedical research, especially data science and bioinformatics. And there's a special office, the NIH Office of Data Science Strategy, that has been created. This is the website here, data science at NIH.gov. I think very important for any of you that are interested to really look at that site because it has a lot of very important information as well as free webinars and so on. And of course, this is, as everybody knows, the explosion of NCBI data and services is noted here. So the amount of information we are handling is really humongous. That has been noted already. And that really necessitates the need for training people to be able to really understand these really large data sets and be able to derive information that will help for biomedical research. So the strategic plan for data science, which is really on that website, that you could download it, it notes that our nation and the world stand at a unique moment of opportunity in biomedical research, and data science is an integral contributor. So NIH recognizes how important this is, and that's why it creates these programs and trying to engage the entire country, not necessarily only the top elite institutions. So this is a definition of data science in the disciplinary field of inquiry, in which quantitative analytical approaches, processes, and systems are developed and used to extract knowledge and insights from increasingly large and more complex data sets. And this is part of the third principles, which is really to create data sets that are findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. And you can see all these qualifiers within the website for the strategic plan of NIH. A very important document that really gives you a blueprint of what NIH will be focusing on the next 5 to 10 years and beyond. So this is the strategic plan for data science. It looks into these components for data infrastructure, to modernizing data ecosystem, to data management, analytics and tools, to workforce development, and stewardship and sustainability. And the IDeA program is particularly focusing, and NAIPI's efforts are focusing on workforce development. We need to enhance the NIH data science workforce, expand the national research workforce, and engage a broader community. Because I don't think if we really do not socialize these tools and information and training and education, we won't be able to compete at the international level with other states and countries that are really focusing a lot on training their people and competing at large with the United States. So Science in the Cloud is a very important program. The NIH created the NIH Data Commons. It's as a pilot program, and that really creates access to test data sets, including the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute's Transcriptomics for Precision Medicine, TopMed, and the NIH Commons Fund genotype tissue expression. So these data bases are really available for mining by all people. And this is part of really socializing all these data sets to everybody who may be interested in them. And one of the more important things that NIH is part of the strategic plan is citizen science. And really citizen science aims to bring science and science policy processes to the public to ensure that science is responsive to public concerns and needs, and to harness additional resources to capture data and innovation in a wide variety of fields. And a couple examples of specific modules have been created. The iWire, which is an online resource launched in 2012, that challenges players to map the three-dimensional structure of neurons. And you can find more information about that at the NIH website. And the Experimental Citizen Science Training for the Next Generation program that promotes biomedical scientific careers among K-1 through 12 students and aims to increase participation of individuals and groups underrepresented in biomedical sciences. So it was very wonderful to hear CMU's elite program, Georgetown. Our goal is to be able to really spread that information and engage the entire country. As specifically to the cloud computing resources, now being available for IDeA states, 23 states in Puerto Rico, and minority serving institutions. And this is the NIH STRIDES program. Science and technology research infrastructure for discovery, experimentation, and sustainability. And this is an agreement of NIH with Amazon, Google, and Microsoft to be able to provide discounted cloud services and training through these agreements. And there is now a working on understanding what the needs are. And there's an RFI that will expire in September to find out input for current and future needs and utilization of cloud computing from institutions within IDeA eligible states, RCMIs and MSIs. Part of the idea is to provide resources to the cloud to a lot of these institutions that do not have local resources for computational biology. And there are NIH workshops on broadening cloud computing. The next one is September 13, 14. And there is a website for registration for all IDEA participants. And there are 30 free cloud training days, 15 by Amazon, 15 by Google. These are the specifics on the number of students that could participate. And there's a direct contact to NIH for those people that are within those 23 states of Puerto Rico that they could participate. So I want to leave you with this. This is my last two final slides. I would like to quote of people this quote by Harriet Beecher Stowe, that common sense is the knack of seeing things as they are and doing things as they ought to be done. We are striving very hard to socialize training in data science and bioinformatics, and hopefully we'll lift all our communities to be able to be much more competitive for biomedical research. And this is a picture of the LSU stadium football few years back when it was actually full of people. We hope to return back to normalcy soon, and I would welcome any of you, if you would like to visit LSU, to also visit us at the BRN. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kousoulas. We do have a couple of questions. So the first question is about members of LBRN about applying to the IDEA co-funding for R15. What is the process for that? Yeah,
so typically, obviously, we assist in this through our administrative core, but there is a specific contact person at NIGMS, and they need to know. And when you are really within potentially close to a categorical funding, they're nominated to be cross-funded by NIGMS and the Categorical Institute. And typically what happens is NIGMS and the IDEA program picks up the first year for an R15 or the first 2 years for an R01, and then the Categorical Institute picks up the remaining funding. Part of the idea is to allow the categorical institutes to fund proposals that did not make the cut through the categorical institute. So typically we've seen grants within 5 to maybe 10 percentile points, depending on the topic and the interest by NIH, that could get funded for these 23 states in Puerto Rico.
Okay, thank you. And another question is, do you collaborate with international institutions for research, faculty development, student exchange, etc.?
Yes. Well, you know, the home unit that really administers the Louisiana Biomedical Research Network is the Division of Biotechnology and Molecular Medicine at LSU, a School of Veterinary Medicine that I direct. And we are working to export a lot of our training in collaboration with Pine Biotech. We have talked to a number of countries we're interested in Latin America, as well as Europe, Southern Europe. And quite soon, we'll be announcing a series of training modules that are provided right now to only LSU students internally, but we hope to export these training modules, exercises, potentially a virtual master's degree to international students with a focus in Latin America and Southern Europe, but this time, but potentially Middle East and elsewhere.
All right, thank you very much. And final question is, what do you think is kind of a way for students without any bioinformatics background, so from maybe a life science background, are there any summer opportunities for them to join some of this training?
So within these 24 states, it's fairly easy because all these IMBRI programs, the IDEA Network for Biomedical Excellence, accept undergraduate students that within those states. In Louisiana, we have 27 institutions that participate in the summer program, and they apply and they get in and they do a summer research. and not only in bioinformatics, but also biomedical sciences by really being hosted. A lot of things the last couple of years have been done virtually, very successfully. If you're not in an IDEA network, the only opportunities would be for us, at least to LSU, our current efforts to export this in a larger format. And NAIPI is interested primarily, obviously, for the 23 states and Puerto Rico, because this is really our charter to help those 24 states. But ultimately, we believe that we could sort of socialize a lot of this training because there's a firm belief within the network that these tools and training should be available to people at very low cost and as many people as possible, as young as possible, because that's the only way to really have an inversion point, as people say in business, to really be able to really transform education. You have to reach out to as many people as possible and as young as possible.
All right, so final question. Thank you for that answer. Are there any opportunities for people working with plant sciences, agriculture, and plant breeding for learning about bioinformatics and potentially joining research projects?
Yeah, obviously at LSU, we have the LSU Ag Center. A number of the students participate in plant-related bioinformatics, computational biology projects. The students enroll at LSU and the College of Agriculture, and we have they participate in a number of our projects. I think it's very possible that we create certain virtual projects that relate to plant science specifically. And we have a number of researchers that are working on advanced bioinformatics tools and data science for plant genetics and plant-related projects. So, data science and biology includes both plant and eukaryotes in so many ways. So the same tools are used across the board, whether it's a plant or it's actually another organism.
All right, great.